back on 4 wheels. I managed to get the wheel and all back on, and I have to move this tractor out now and turn it, because when I'm working on this side, I find it's easier to have that side facing over to the workbench where all the tools are. It makes, you wouldn't think it, but it makes life a lot easier, and I think there's better lighting than if I have the door open. So let's give her a start and drive it in. So drive it out, turn it around and drive it back in, and we'll get that other side facing over here. So I'll put it down on the tripod here and we'll try it for a start. Okay. I'm now just going to adjust the tick over down a little bit as well. Because this has an alternator, it doesn't need to be ticking over at 800 revs per minute like a dynamo does, because anything under about 750 revs per minute on the likes of my gold belly with the dynamo, your charge light starts coming on. So what I'm going to do with this is to make sure it's not coming on at all. And so now we're sitting there touching 600 revs per minute, and we still have no charge light starting to come on. So for the fun of it, actually, before I bring this out, I'm going to go and I'm going to get my voltmeter, and I'm going to read the charge that's coming from the alternator at these revs. Now, you see what this is putting out. So that's more than enough of those revs. That's textbook. Couldn't be better. So I'm more than happy that lower tick over isn't going to be affecting the charging of this at all. 13.25, perfect. 14.5 when she's revved up. But having the lower tick over will give you far better engine braking. Our oil pressure is good. I'm happy with that. In that video, why the voltmeter wasn't moving, this spade connector is just way too loose on in behind the key there, so I'm just going to give that a quick squeeze and refit it, and we'll check it and make sure it's working. Should be it. That's something I noticed when we had the video on there. There we go, working again. Brilliant. That's a nice peace of mind when you can see that in the green. Okay, let's get this turned around. We're moving. I have to take off the exhaust because it's a bit higher than the door here, so I'm just going to check my brake. I only have brake on one side, of course. Whoa! Haha! And now brakes. We're definitely working on one side. Brakes. go. That's good. Yeah, the brake's definitely working there anyway. Okay. Lovely. Right lads, we're back in. Nice to feel brakes on one side anyway, and now we can start working on this side. So I moved it up a little bit so that we have a nice wide sweep here for taking out axles, and then I'm still far enough away from the vice that if I had to use something like an angle grinder, I can't see myself having to, but if there's sparks flying, we're keeping it away from the nice bodywork. So anyway, that's it. So I have to go and take off these wheel nuts now. So as I mentioned in an earlier video, I can adjust the end float in the rear wheel bearings from this side, and then what I have to do is take off the other wheel as well, so that that's not going to be influencing, we'll say, things at all. Yeah, and you know, flex or anything into the way of the tractor, and we'll be able to work out exactly what's happening just in the axle. So I'm going to get this wheel off, and I'll get a look in behind at the brakes and stuff. This side seems to be a little bit worse than the other side, in that there's, I'll put it through here now, there's some serious wear after happening there, probably due to that. I can see the brake shoes, and there was a fair puddle of oil on the ground there, and these were so worn you can see there was actually washers put behind them. But again, that's all in the name of make and do, I suppose, back in the day. So I've got a new backing plate, as you probably saw me painting up and stuff. So these brakes were never going to work, there's too much oil in them. So let's get a look in there. Well, it'll be a while till I actually get in there, but let's get stripped down to the brake drum anyway. One wheel should be ready to come off now. Wow, there's a lot of oil in there. Aye. Got one grub screw. I'll get him off. Be interesting to see how he comes off. These can be very, very tight, and I tell you, there's no reason for them to be tight, because when you bolt up your wheel, this can't go anywhere anyway. So that's what we have to get out there. So I'll see how we get on with them. Okay. This is always first step. Wide screwdriver. Oh, there we go. We're lucky. There's absolutely no need to be tightening these in crazy tight. Now, so that's the grub screw. This side's missing, or it was wrung off. Yeah, wrung off by the looks of things. And this is very oily, so it doesn't surprise me that it's coming off so easy. Before I do that, I just want to put the axle stand, actually adjust it properly underneath. Okay, plenty of axle stands under it. Better off being safe. They're there, so may as well use them. So I didn't back off the brakes, as I didn't have to. Okay, so there's no wonder that these brakes weren't working when you see the amount of oil that's on them. I'm sure that's only a rear axle seal that's gone. Plenty of oil in there. So that's fine, we'll get that all sorted. They are never going to work anyway, but of course I've all new ones, so let's start stripping this down. So my little trick for taking off the spring is, once again, 60% of the time it works every time. That doesn't make any sense. Here's it in the film. Now this one's a bit curled around, so we'll have to just maybe straighten that a little. Genie. What was that? I thought that was a loose, really loose. That accident's not. So just to try and get that in behind there, so I'll have a play around with that and I'll come back when I'm ready to pull it off. Right, I'm going to have a go with this spring here. See what way it's going to like to come off. Okay, that wasn't a great nick now, to be honest with you. It wasn't a great turn on the end of that. Anyway, we have a new one there, just as well. So that's that. The next thing I can do is start taking off, I don't know, is the lighting great here, is it? Take off these. Okay. So, it was washers put on the back of them because they were fairly worn, the holes are fairly worn in there, I'd say. But not to worry. This whole brake back in plate. And I'm going to put down some rag there because we're getting a bit of a drip of oil onto the ground. Now, getting a fair drip there. Now I do have the gearbox back end emptied of oil. These brake shoes look like they were barely ever used. Maybe they weren't adjusted right, but they're so soaked now in oil, they're never going to work, unfortunately. But that's not unfortunately at all, because we have all nice new ones to go onto it. Yeah. And as well, if you look here, big lump came out of it there as well. And you can see that it's not great on the side there. It was rubbing. Wow. Okay. What else can we see here of interest? Get the torch. Let's show you this damage down at the bottom. So, sort of wearing through it there. Okay. So that's them. So yeah, look. I think the only thing to do now is to start pulling this half shaft out, but again, similar to the other side, some of the nuts and bolts are sticking out. The studs are sticking out too far, so there'll be very little thread gone into the actual hub there. So again, I'll do a little job on that. I'll replace any of the nuts with those lovely cylinder head nuts if I have to, and we'll get all them cleaned up and we'll get them threaded into the hub so it gets a good strong pull and everything. So yeah, 11/16 spanner and socket. Start spray them down first with a bit of penetrating oil, and we'll get that half shaft out. That's all the nuts and bolts out of that, so that should be ready for pulling. See then, I'm feeling that the seal isn't in the best of condition, but you're not hard. Put a new one there for it. Make sure the wire for the lights doesn't get tangled up. Try and pull this out first. Okay. There we go. Brake rod is out of the way. So, there's nothing left there. There we go. Bit of oil leaking out. Leave that down there. Take that. Wow, that seal doesn't feel like it was rubbing anything. Jeez, yeah. Interesting. Get the torches to show you what's going on in there. So there's something going on the top of that seal there. I don't know if it's coming out very well on the camera. It's like it was nearly dunted in a little bit. Yeah, whatever they used to dunt it in is actually after pushing the metal, that little ring inwards. And you can see the seal is bulging out a bit on top, and it's actually non-existent there, so that's okay. We'll take our time tapping it in, and yeah, wheel bearing, we'll check all that. Looks good from here. Splines look good. Okay, this looks very good actually. In fairness, it's not too worn at all, just a bit dry. Yeah, I'm happy with that, and we can get that cutter pin out as well. I had to cut that, so that's looking good. To get this little lad off that goes to the brake rods. The brake backing plate is it's just too far gone to use again. We have new ones there. So yeah, let's get on to the next stage. I'll have to get this off here, so I might just give that a quick rub of a wire brush. Help this penetrating oil get down it to the brake rod. That'll help us. It should be on a Woodruff key. This stuff is excellent. Really fizzes up. Seems to get in where you want it to go. Yeah, that's starting to make its way down there. Now, I don't want to go hitting this too hard and damaging it. Mind you, it is going to be, the end is so much, it's countersunk anyway, so it's not going to make much of a difference. But if I have to put a timber over, I will actually. That's what I try. We can damage the timber all we want. Slide there, so keep them safe. Yeah, so I might leave the penetrating oil sitting there a little bit longer. Coming there now, so use this aluminium rift. Right, now we can get out our cotter pin here, even if it involves drilling a new hole. I'm not too fussed. We can salvage the brake rod. Some great nick. Before we salvage the brake rod, we have to take off this washer here. There's a bit of a spring on it there. It's going to disintegrate it like they usually do. So if that doesn't come off, you just hit it with a file and all of that. Just lumps of paint and stuff. Crack, so it should come off most of the way. Anyway, I'll come back when I have that off. I have to get out that Woodruff key as well, so we'll see how we get on.